Hi folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel one more time. I'm hopeful that everyone's having a good day, and if you've been watching the fights, that you've been entertained. So, Joe Joyce and Filip Hrgovic. We had predicted on this channel that Hrgovic would win, and Hrgovic did win. I will confess to putting a whopping $10 on Joe Joyce as a purely emotional bet, because I'm very fond of Joe Joyce. I like Joe Joyce. And I was torn because I want Joe Joyce to win, but I wanted him to lose and retire, if that makes sense. Because I worry about Joe Joyce. You know, he's 40 in September, and some of the interviews he's had some speech slowing and indicia of there possibly being some cognitive problems. But hey, having said that, his post-fight interview today in the ring with Adi Oladipo, he sounded absolutely fine, absolutely switched on. But anyways, we'll get to that at the end of the video. So the fight itself was the fight that I was hoping to see between David Adeleye and Jamie TKV. Instead, we got whatever they produced for us, which was, go look at my other video. What I mean by that is this fight was really a slugfest. There didn't seem to be a tremendous amount of boxing skill, and it certainly wasn't It certainly wasn't the, Usyk Fury type back and forth with lots of movement. These boys, Joe Joyce and Filip Hrgovic, big, solid lads, neither too quick. Hrgovic was slightly faster, but they were both quite slow, and slow throughout the fight. But they came to fight, of that there was no doubt. There was a lot less of this hugging and holding that marred the Adeleye and TKV fight. They swapped leather, pretty much from the get-go right to the very end. I was on a chat group, and I was on two chats. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5 or 6 of us in total. And everybody was sort of saying the same thing, which was the guys are slow. Lots of missed punches, and Joe Joyce was particularly slow. Some people thought that Hrgovic was doing really rather well, and other people was thinking that Joe Joyce was doing really rather well. And it just depends on what you wanted to see. For myself and one other, we tended to rate Joe Joyce a bit more highly because Joe Joyce was the coming forward fighter a little bit more. Though it's fair to say that the more quality work was being done by Hrgovic. There were a couple of times where I thought, we could be potentially early doors. And there was a nasty cut over Hrgovic's eye early on, and I thought that might be troublesome in the same way that it was troublesome with the Daniel Dubois fight where Hrgovic was stopped on cuts. But that was kept under control. And then there were a couple of times where Joe Joyce seemed to be wobbly. It's almost like off balance, and of course I'm worried at that point because I'm thinking, his punch resistance, has it gone? I mean, Chisora knocked him down in the last fight, right? And we all know what happened with the disastrous Zhilei Zhang fights. So I was worried that he would go down, but he didn't. He stayed on his feet. In fact, neither man went down throughout the fights. Hrgovic, as we know, has an iron chin. Joyce used to have, but it's now thought not to be the case. There were a couple of times, I think it was either in the 9th or 10th round, where Joyce sort of stumbled to the side, even though he hadn't been hit. And I'm thinking, is this like a delayed reaction, kind of concussion thing, or is this just losing his equilibrium? But he seemed to recover, and as I say, neither boxer hit the canvas at all. It wasn't a fight where you would say that a boxing match was really in danger of breaking out, but it was a fight that showed heart, courage, determination, resilience, and slugfest, really. Not overly not overly exciting, I think, for a purist, but an entertaining fight for people who just wanted to see two big lumps, knock 7 bells out of each other. Joe Joyce, didn't get the win, and I thought one of the scorecards, 98-92, was too wide. I mean, honestly, at the end of the piece, I would not have argued if Joe Joyce had gotten the win, and I would not have argued if Filip Hrgovic had gotten the win in a fairly close. Because I looked at it and I thought, you know what, it's fairly close. I think Hrgovic has got it, but I wouldn't complain if Joe Joyce got it. That's with my eyes. And I have not watched it back. This is just from my notes, my memory of the conversation with the guys. I did not have the commentary on because I was talking to one guy and I was looking at the texts from the other guys. So I didn't have the commentary on, and I thought that was better because honestly, I don't really like the DAZN commentary team. And I didn't really want to be influenced. So I'm just watching it. Well, I guess I was influenced by the other guys. But I wanted to be, watching it somewhat more objectively than having the DAZN broadcast team tell me what I should be thinking. At the end of the piece, when the results were announced, it didn't seem to be any big controversy, except that one scorecard, 98-92, seemed too wide. Filip Hrgovic was very complimentary. He thanked Joe for taking the fight and for, thanked everybody under the sun, really. When he was asked, what does he want to do next? He said, well, Joyce beat Dubois. I beat him. I did bad in my last fight against Dubois. I'd like a rematch. So there you go. That's what Filip Hrgovic would like. Joe Joyce, he thanked everybody. He sounded really good. Like I say, it was one of the sharpest sounding Joe Joyces that I've heard for a while. He said it wasn't my time this time. And when Ade Oladipo, who I really wished wasn't interviewing fighters in the ring, asked him about his future plans. He said, hey, look, are you not entertained? He said, I was entertained, maybe not in interviews, but hey ho, right? And then Frank Warren was interviewed, and Frank Warren was saying, well, maybe Joe needs to go away and think about things. He's been a great servant to boxing. He won the silver medal for Britain. He should have been a gold. He needs to go away and have a long think. Which is all sort of, nice words, but my interpretation of those nice words were that maybe Joe should call it a day. I would love for Joe to call it a day. At 40 years old, well, not quite 40 in September. I don't think he's going to get much better, but my tummy tells me he won't retire. As for Filip Hrgovic, yeah, well, I guess he's back in the mix. And there's no reason why he can't be looking for big fights. I don't think he would be in line for a Dubois rematch soon. I think Dubois' dance card is fairly full. He's looking, of course, at Usyk, or if it isn't Usyk, he'd be looking at, I guess Chisora, right? As the mandatory. And then there's always the option of fighting Parker. So I suspect that Filip Hrgovic will have to fight somebody else, but he is clearly now back in the mix. So overall, it was an entertaining fight, even though I think if you're a boxing purist, you could pick holes in it. But if you were just a casual fan and you wanted to see men, hammer at each other, then it certainly it fit the bill. As for the Adelaide and TKV fight, I shouldn't reiterate my thoughts on it. Anyways, we'll leave it there. If you like this video, please like, please share, please subscribe. Most importantly, have a great day. Oh, before I forget, I think tomorrow, Sunday, the 6th, I'll be back on this channel, of course, with Jamie. People seem to like that. Jamie and I will be doing our recap, no doubt, of this fight and others. and we'll be having our usual chat and laugh and everything like that. So something to look forward to if you like me and Jamie swapping BS with each other and having a crack, as they say. Okay, folks, that's all for the Mo. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.